Three sisters with stories to tell. Books in our hands, we know them well. Flipping pages where dreams dwell. Chapter one, here you go. Turn the light, let the words flow. Laughs and love in every show. Books, sweethearts, we grow.
All right, then. Welcome back to part 4 of The Things Gods Break. Pandemonium, make it make sense is this section.
I don't think that this made pandemonium make sense, though.
No.
Either. I feel like this section was the filler section to kind of close out a few things and then
I
set
would
it
not
up.
call this a filler section. That's crazy pants.
No,
We'll see what happens.
you didn't let
We'll
me
get into it.
finish. You cut me off before I even got to the second half of the sentence. But to set up the next coming section, like there wasn't any like huge revelation that we weren't really kind of expecting.
What? I mean, I guess, yes, we were expecting. There weren't a lot of theories in this section, I would say. But this is like information we've been wanting for since like from the first book.
Yes. I just wasn't, it was anticlimactic for what I was expecting, I guess, from my perspective.
Maybe I was just in a really good mood when I read this. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But I loved this.
I
and
enjoyed it.
I think
I did enjoy it.
it was like things from the first book. I was like, check, 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 check.
Sorry
So,
for my, I'm going to be sniffling the whole time.
It's
But
okay.
I can jump
Well-
into a rapid recap
Yeah, let's jump
from
in.
section 3. Okay, so Lyra came out of Hades' Lock at the end of section 2. So she's coming out. She's seeing all the Titans that are there. Rhea's gone. And they're trying to move on to this map room. Then they get to see a little bit more of Tartarus. Lyra keeps going back with Kronos, saying Kronos is still like really like, I did not swallow my children. Lyra's starting to like question it a little bit. She walks back into a crack in time and she's back in Hades' perspective, in hell. I can't think of the word.
The world.
And yeah, in the underworld, he like traps her. He's like, you're not going anywhere. She takes a nap. He thinks she's going to want to get out, but she takes a nap and she's good. We found out that Tantophile is why Charon calls Hades Phi, because it's his brother in death. Let's see. Hades asked Lyra if she's a goddess at will time. And we go into chapter 32 and we find out some things about the Titans not being able to try to get out, but they can't do the locks. They can't go through the locks, but they can go through the time cracks. They've been resetting time to get Lyra where she is now on purpose. We find out that Alani means death bringer, and that is really her given name. Kronos likes to call her that because it also is a fitting name for goddess of the underworld. She gets sucked back into a time warp. She didn't really learn a lot through there, but she gets sucked back in the time warp and she is in a war, which we find out it is actually the beginning of the war between the gods and the Titans. And Lyra is seeing all of these veils, which apparently isn't normal. And Phoebe is there. She tells her she's coming into her power and she's the goddess of glamours. So she can not only see other gods' glamours, she has control of them. Even if, and she can remove them supposedly, even if she didn't make them. And Lyra does try to stop Hades from taking his mother because she knows he's going to regret it. And Lyra tells Rhea that she's going to come back and help them. So she kind of shoots herself in the foot and puts her in the position that she's in now. And Lyra teleports out of there back to the underworld and kind of falls apart at that point, waiting to see what happens next. And that's kind of where we ended up, right?
Yeah. All right. Then, Ashley, if you want to take us into the breakdown.
We're going to do it a little different this time. We're going to do like a quick summary and then a deep dive into the chapters or sections, however it works out time-wise.
Yeah.
Just to explain that it's going to be a little different. We're trying it out. I need
Yeah.
Yes. So the first kind of third of this section We get a little bit of both Hades and Lyra's perspective. We start off in Hades' perspective, to which I believe it doesn't clarify, but it sounds like it is real time. Hades is, up there on his throne. I'm kind of picturing. And Anubis comes to see him, which we learned in the prior sections that was his mentor when he was younger and still trying to figure out his powers. And he comes to let him know, like, nope, we're not doing this. You need to let this go. We're not fighting and we're not letting out the Titans. To which he then lets him know that if he wants to fight him, he's going to have to fight all of the gods across all the sects. And it's clear when they all kind of pop up and Zeus gives a little smirk that he's probably behind this to some extent. And then we flash into the next 4 chapters, those are all from.
Oh, do we want to do
Lyra's-
one chapter at a time still? Not
Yeah.
like all of it at once.
Okay.
It's okay.
Gotcha.
I don't have much to say about this chapter, except for the fact that Anubis, he was the one that you said, so he's an Egyptian god of death, but he was the one that Hades mentioned when Lyra traveled back, right? On their first encounter, that he's the only one that kind of tolerates Hades, like back that far because he was teaching him how to do things, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, there wasn't otherwise,
Yeah.
like that was pretty to the point.
This is really just like Zeus's involvement. Like I feel like, well, I was just confused.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
so
Zeus probably brought everybody together and was like, hey, let's go. Hades is trying to do this. Let's go after him.
And the one thing I didn't clarify in the threat is that Anubis says, if you fight us on this, we will demolish Tartarus and everybody, all the souls inside of it, which to me kind of felt like, why would you even threaten that? Like knowing who Zeus is, or not Zeus, knowing who Hades is, like everybody knows that his queen is in Tartarus, and then you just kind of like threw down the gauntlet.
That's true.
Like
That
why?
is true.
wait a second.
Um,
Did I just like completely miss this
It was
time?
it was a small sentence. It just said, we
yeah,
will
it was literally like one sentence.
yeah, if you don't let this idea go, then you leave us no choice. We will have to destroy Tartarus and all the souls within it.
No, I know. I thought this was a past. I did not realize this was present time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hell?
As I'm saying, like they didn't clarify, but considering Lyra wasn't there for it to be like a
This
past.
is why I was so confused. I was like, wait, I'm so confused.
Who are
What?
these people? Why is this happening? Yeah, it's basically, Hades in his head, he's going to try to get everybody to agree to open Tartarus. And this is them coming together and be like, the hell you will. This is not happening. Yeah. I think that's it.
To be a fly on that wall with the ability to see glamour, to see how many of them are truly glamored or not.
True.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah. And I will mention as well that I didn't grasp when I was reading through it either that when Hades says that they don't have that power, that it's just figure after figure after figure show up in numbers. And it's all the gods who touch or wield death throughout the world. And they're semicircle around him to trap him. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And I think this is like where Hades is at this point. And we don't get to find out what happens to him from here yet.
And so when they ended this chapter, and like I kept waiting. That's not really a spoiler to say that we never really go back to that time from his perspective yet, but I kept thinking like this is the moment that the prophecy kicks in. Because I mean, what does, a cornered wolf do? He's gone to attack. He had like basic animal instinct.
The last sentence, if it's a fight you won, brother, then that's what you got.
Yeah. I didn't linger on that chapter enough to really like fully process it.
Clearly, I
It was
did
so
not.
short. Yeah, it was
I'm
so
gonna
short that I was
reread
just like, oh, that was tiny. What happens next, Ashley?
So we pop back into Lyra's perspective and she comes back. I actually forgot that how we ended off, she was in that time warp. So it wasn't really introduced very well that that's kind of where she was coming from and processing all of that.
Did
Yeah.
they?
She never went back through a time shard. She transported herself to Tartarus to get out of that war.
Right.
And that's where she was. She went to the water gardens. It was like the one place she could picture going to.
Yeah. And then here we
And
are
it's like,
in
did I
chapter-
read this section?
So I jumped right back where Lyra was. That came to me. I think that's why I thought the whole time, like reading Hades chapter 2, I was in a time warp.
Oh,
Because
no.
like how she
Oh,
because that's normally how she picks up is right where they're going. So I was thinking this whole time we were in the time warp.
Let's do the time.
I literally wrote like a 2-sentence thing. I never take this much notes. I was like, what is happening? I am so confused.
This is why it helps us to go through it together.
I mean, yeah, good thing we're doing this as like
At least
a
it
book
was
club
one
type
page.
thing. Yeah, it literally was. It was like a page and a
Mhm.
half.
But
And it
that
would
is
have thrown
very
off
true. That's
everything
the
for you.
first time she's done that. Because normally when she
Yes.
picks up different perspectives, it's exactly where the last one left off. Like this is the first
Yeah.
time. So if
And
anybody
it would
else is
make no sense for this to be happening at the same time
well,
that was
that's why I
happening.
asked,
Yeah.
Because
what the
all
fuck?
the gods of Olympus were together against the Titans. Then this is them against him. Like,
I
all the
thought this
ones.
was
Yeah.
right after they put their parents away.
Yeah.
Like the meet afterwards. And that's why
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
could see that. But then you're like, what is happening though?
okay, sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad we could clarify that for you, Hannah. Hopefully
to the
it gets
best
a
of
little
us.
bit better. It makes a little bit more sense.
Um,
So my ear just like total twist out. All right. So we pop in from Lear's perspective, and she is magically back from this time warp, and she's kind of in her feels. I felt like trying to figure out what the hell just happened, everything she saw, and it's like she's digesting how much she cares and can allow herself to care for the Titans. Like she's been fighting it this whole time, and now she's like, okay, if this is true, because Boone is always in her ear about, "Oh, well, you can't trust anything you see down here, or even in the time warps, it could all be glamour, blah blah blah." Which, okay, err on the side of caution, but he's kind of getting on my nerves about it a little bit. Not gonna lie. But and turns out as she's doing all this, Boone pops in. I guess he was time warped too. I was real confused on that one. She looks and he's singed and like smoking,
She says
literally.
he's sizzling, like
Yeah.
fajitas in a pan. She doesn't say that, but that's how I'm picturing.
Honestly, it's kind of how I pictured him too.
Popping and cracking.
And she's like, is he dead? And he was not, but he gives us a little bit of insight into, what he saw, which we can dive into together in a second. But then Lyra gives him kind of the rundown of her time warp and about the glamour. And they kind of go back and forth on her abilities versus if it's all kind of a glamour itself. And at the very end, they decide, well, let's just try and make glamours. So that's what happened in that chapter. And I figure, anybody want to dive in? Anything specific?
So let's see. Her, like you're talking about her emotions, like her deep desire to now go and like run to these Titans who she's questioned her whole, like she thought were evil her whole life, and hug them and like make sure they're okay because of what she
Mhm.
just witnessed speaks to her character, and like the fact that she's starting to accept this, even though it's so hard to accept.
Well,
And
she's going off her gut too. She's like, I know I probably shouldn't believe it, but I know I have to.
And what else? Let's see. Sorry, I heard something weird. It was my computer though. I was like, what is that sound?
No, I was like, wait, was that
Sorry.
not in this chapter? Is
No,
that in
no,
the
no.
next one?
It was
I
just
thought Lyra showed up. I mean,
Lila.
Lila.
No, it sounds like water running, but it's the fan on my computer. When Lyra saw the shard, she's like, what? Not again. Like it's coming for her again. But then this is the first time Boone has gotten sucked into one that we're aware of.
Yeah, there was a lot of
I
different
got
things about the
confused.
time warps that we find out in this
Yeah.
that we
I got
hadn't
really
before.
confused multiple times reading this chapter. Like,
Yeah.
when she says this is when I lay it all out for him when they're talking about what happened. I don't know why. I read over that like 3 times and my brain did not read that sentence. And I was like, what are they talking about? What happened?
I was really
But
in
yeah.
when I started reading, I think.
Okay, good. Good.
But I was
I'll
going
talk
to
about
bring
it.
up So when Boone is telling her about it, he tells her he was spotted by Poseidon and Hera, and they're questioning like they saw you. Why didn't they say anything? Because this is obviously the past, and they've seen Boone
Yeah.
at the Crucible in the first book.
And he's
Um,
in Olympus. I don't know if we mentioned that or not, but he popped out in Olympus, and it says it's like a Byzantine era by the structures, which I don't know when that was, but a long time ago. Right. Seems like right
Yeah.
after the war.
But yeah, he's explaining everyone's afraid of Zeus. And I'm like when they're explaining they saw you, whatever, he's just like, who knows? They were so afraid of him, they just brought me straight to him.
Only
And
note I
he
took on that
said
section is that
were-
Zeus looked homeless.
Oh,
yeah,
well
like
fed
he
homeless
said
man.
left his temple, it sounds like he's like eating and drinking exactly in the same spot, which I'm thinking like, is he still like glamored or brainwashed to a like he just is gonna sit there all day long and like never leave?
I think this ties into what happens a little bit later when we pop into the underworld. Because it sounds to me like Zeus is afraid to leave that throne because he wants it to be his.
That's kind of how I took it too. He was too afraid. Like he's sitting on his throne. Remember back in the Disney cartoon Hercules
That's
movies?
exactly what I
And it's-
pictured.
Yeah. And it's the
Big
big
temple with a
Zeus.
huge Zeus. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like the Lincoln Memorial
Yep.
is basically,
All the same visuals.
yeah. Except he's got like, now he's like big long beard and all haggard looking because he just hasn't moved.
No, he looks like a glutton. That's what I picture. Is like the
Yeah.
glutton sloth. What is that movie with the seven sins, deadly sins? I'm talking about.
7?
Yeah, seven. Alira asks once Boone finishes explaining what his experience was. When she says, "By any chance, was there a mesh veil made of iridescent light over his face?" I picture him being like, "That's random. Like what?" Because she has not
Yeah.
once mentioned this to him. So why would you
Yeah.
ask that? Like,
It's
um,
very specific.
so she must have had to go like tell her whole entire freaking story right here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
He just is like,
did I miss it? Or like he just mentions that he like got halfway struck with lightning, but like
that
I don't
motherfucker threw a
remember him
lightning
ever
bolt at
really.
me. He said,
Yeah,
is all he
did
said.
it explain his interaction with Zeus at all? Did I miss that?
No.
No,
Didn't go.
all she said was, "I'd say he hit you," and he said, "Glanced off me like a guy."
Yeah.
No, she didn't really say like, how did he get out of that? Maybe the shard just grabbed him because he doesn't. He stops. He just explains the scene, not like, "Hey, what are you doing here? I don't know who you are. Let's kill you." Nothing.
Yeah.
It got left. I didn't think too much into it, but
I
I
didn't
feel like
even-
this was one of the least detailed chapters.
yeah.
And so I was like harboring on confusion, but then I was like, do I need to reread this? Or is that really just what it was?
A hard time with the next sentence after she explains it, and he's like, "What's happening?" Because he says, "My initial thought is you're the one being glamored." And I'm not understanding like, why he thinks Lyra is being glamored. And this actually made me
Yes.
confused again in another chapter with the
Wait,
Yeah,
glamour.
so this is what I'm talking about. He keeps bringing up like you can't trust anything you see, you can't trust
Mhm.
anything anyone says, like it's all a big glamour essentially. Like everything they see, like they're being glamored by somebody and you can't trust it. And that's another reason why he didn't want to ask Persephone about the time jumping and whatnot because he doesn't know if he can trust that it's really her or a glamour.
But like, what would she be glamored? Like, what? It doesn't, I'm not understanding. Because then he's
That's
like,
why I'm
it'd be
getting so
easier to
frustrated with
glamour.
him.
Yeah, it's like he says it would be
What
much easier to
section are
glamour
y'all
one
even
brand
talking
new goddess. This is page 201 at the very bottom. It's still that second chapter.
41.
He's like, it would be much easier to glamour one brand new goddess still waiting for her powers than it would be to glamour a bunch of gods. She says, "I know, I thought of that too." Well, like, what does that even mean? Glamour her to see what? Glamour her to
to see what they
to see
want
the-
her to
whenever
see.
they
okay,
Yeah, like to
Okay.
manipulate her.
like the Titans glamored her to see and make her like bring her to their side. Okay.
Yes. Which is
was
what he's
reading
been
this-
saying this whole time.
I was reading this with children fighting over my lap space. So I was like, stop kicking my butt. Don't throw my bookmark. Ugh. So I tried, but I was not grasping what was up. And I like they talked more about the power it would take and that he doesn't even think the Titans could do it. So it'd have to be somebody really powerful. And like not leak it. And then, what if the person responsible glamored other gods to help them and then forgot they helped? And she said she thinks that's reaching. Boone brought it in. So when I said something about all the gods of death or whatever, the gods that touch death that are down in present day with Hades, because Boone brings about it, it's not just the Greek pantheon that person or persons would have had to glamour. The gods of the other pantheons, Norse, Egyptian, Sumerian, Celtic, Mayan, they all interact. And he said, I don't think Odin would have let the Greek pantheon lock up their parents if he knew the Titans were being wrongly imprisoned. Where does Odin fall into it? Because I only know Odin from like Thor and Odin, but the god of thunder, they're Greek too?
No, he's Norse.
Okay, Norse.
So he's
Okay.
the counterpart
Gotcha.
in Norse mythology, which he's the one that gave Hades the two hatchet.
Oh,
things.
Odin did?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes
So those
sense
are
with their weapons that they have and the booms and stuff.
right.
Okay. Lyra hadn't thought of that. And then they're like, what about Zeus?
So I have a theory,
Okay.
which is still my theory from the last section that Oceanus is involved in this. But I'm starting to think, like, with all of their theories kind of wrapping in, like, and it being confirmed by the Titans, it takes a lot of energy to continuously glamour things.
Yeah.
That obviously can't just be Oceanus. However, so Gaia, the primordial, so the mom of the Titans,
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what her story is, like how she plays in normal Greek mythology, like if she's still alive or not. So it kind of sucks not having that, and I tried not to look it up so that I wouldn't like cheat myself. But it doesn't say in here anything about her being dead. So
And all we've heard,
when
literally the
Rhea-
only sentence we've gotten about Gaia was when Rhea said Mother Gaia.
yeah. So it would have been easy for Gaia to influence Uranus and or Oceanus. We already know there's a lot of tension between Uranus and his kids, and we know they all hate Oceanus, which they haven't clarified how he's a traitor. We just know he is one. So I feel like maybe Gaia really is somehow either boosting Oceanus's powers or helping him somehow for some reason.
I still think she's like, sorry, I'm assuming. I still think she's like the main HBIC, whatever's going on. That's my theory.
I wouldn't be
Lyra-
surprised.
Lyra and Boone
I've no-
don't figure out anything by the end of this chapter, though. They're still like, I don't know, maybe, what if? No, that wouldn't work. And they get nowhere.
Yeah. And then there's like, let's go try and glamour shit.
Yep. Go practice my skills.
Anyone else before I hit 42? So my notes are super to the point on this, and I'm hoping you guys got more out of it than I did because I don't know. I'm kind of blocked by anytime Persephone is in the mix right now. I'm
Like,
ugh.
her.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for this since like the first chapter of the first book.
She's just been a
I know.
disappointment, though.
She gave me the
but,
ick,
like
and I
to
can't.
find out
rid of
any
it.
information is like critical because we have nothing.
I just don't
I
trust
do feel
anything
like
we
she gets
said.
some from her, but she opens up a little bit more here, at least.
She does.
Yeah.
So
Go for it.
I just
they
am like,
go
did
down.
you guys like not get enough sleep this week or what? Because I
No,
was
I mean, I
locked
really
in
didn't.
on
No, I
this-
I mean,
enjoyed
work
it.
has been really stressful, so
No,
like
I really
the next
enjoyed
couple
it.
of weeks are gonna be rough.
For sure enjoyed it. I also am like with Persephone, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like there's more and she could share, but she's not. That's all.
I
But I'm
enjoyed the back half of this section more than the front half. I'll say that.
vice versa.
However, okay, so they're going down toward the tunnels and decide that they're going to ask Persephone to help. She is the only one that's not a Titan that's down there. Yeah, I don't really know why else they're asking her. Boone definitely does not like the idea. This is the only thing he and I see eye to eye on right now. And of course, when they ask her for help, she's willing, but then Persephone and Boone bicker back and forth basically throughout the chapter. And Persephone does give us more information. She does tell us that, she's never been a part of any of these prophecies, which I found really intriguing. And it kind of scares me for how this book is going to end, but I'm going to let it go and not think the worst of worse.
We had two wild parents, Persephone and Boone.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other really big part that happens in this chapter is Lyra sees and tells Persephone that she's been glamored. Like she can see the glamour over her face.
Which I feel like it's huge, but I'll wait till the
Yeah.
deep dive.
No, so that's my last bullet point. Like, so
Okay.
that we can all just deep dive.
Okay.
Hannah, did you read
highlights.
this?
Y'all are killing me. Okay,
What?
let's start from the top.
I thought we were summarizing it.
Okay.
This was one of the longer chapters.
I know.
Go for it, Hannah. You can try.
These
So
were the
first of
important
all-
parts for us to dive into.
Did y'all not think it weird they all like sleep on the floor in one room together?
I don't really think it's
No.
weird. I think it's like for safety.
Safety
and
in
because
numbers.
we're talking about like, Lyra's bringing it back to they are a family and she keeps seeing these
Yeah.
situations where they tease each other and stuff. And like it is a safety thing. So I don't really think it's weird.
I
With the pandemonium
on
and
top of that,
everything.
yeah, they're a family and they're an incestuous family. So, I mean, they got all kinds of
guess when
things
you put it
going.
that
Like,
way.
why wouldn't?
But I'm expecting them to have like maybe one room and all the rooms come off of that room or something. Not literally we're all gonna pile in this room on the floor together.
It's
I
like
mean, I could see
lions
like they have their own cells, but like they probably have PTSD. Like they don't want to be locked up by themselves.
Yeah. I'm gonna
I picture like the
reset.
lion. Okay.
Okay, I
doesn't
was
need to be in
wondering
the
if I
recording,
would.
But it is
Yeah,
weird.
there's
but
like
I
an
didn't
extra long
bat
delay.
an eye at it really.
So then, like, literally on page 1, we've been talking about, or I know I'm not the only one that's brought up the theory of Persephone and Boone. And so they
Yeah.
bring Persephone and they say, she's bleary eyed, fog clearing, in a burst of smile when she realizes it's Boone waking her up. And Boone leads away from her like he's trying to avoid the beam of it touching him.
Yeah, I just like I'm kind of just letting the whole Boone Persephone thing go right now because he hates her for whatever
He's acting like a
reason.
man. He's acting like Hades. He's running away from his feelings. There's something deep there, and he's like so hard no.
Yeah.
Because it makes him vulnerable.
Well,
think-
but
I think
he's
she has a
also
crush on him at least.
so I think they both like. I bet there's a lot of like sexual tension there as well. But on top of that, like he really thinks that all of this is bullshit. So like I get it, and her like making all of these faces and like, oh, whatever, I like him, and him seeing it is only reinforcing like how pissed off he is that in his mind it's all a lie.
Also, he is being really like dramatic and exaggerated about her.
Yeah.
Get over
I
it, dude.
strongly dislike him through this whole section because he's just annoying about it all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not on his side necessarily, but I'm not surprised that he's behaving that way because if he doesn't believe any of this is true, like, and he really does have some kind of attraction or feelings towards her or whatever, like, yeah, I could see how he would get more pissed off every time he sees something that he wants to see, but he feels like he's being glamored by it.
Yeah, I guess he's not taking it that seriously. Like, of course, he's going to be skeptical in this situation, but I think you guys are, or maybe you actually, I don't know, but are just like taking it, more seriously than I am. Like, of course, he's going to be skeptical.
I don't even like the dude, but if I thought
He's not
everything was
like-
a lie,
Going to sleep, writing in his journal, I hate this place, I hate this.
Eat that bitch Persephone. She thinks
Yeah.
I'm cute, but she's ill, gross.
So, yeah, let's keep going.
The veil. So when Lyra asks for Persephone's help, she makes a little rabbit, right? And Lyra makes sure everybody can see it. First of all, she's like, everybody can see this, right? She gets it to act like a frog, and it does. And Boone was like taken by surprise of it. And then she gets to watch Persephone peel the glamour off of its eyes, just like Rhea did. But Lyra can't do it. I don't even think she tries there, but like it's not working like she wants it to, right? wasn't like a successful experience. And she says, you can stop it. What did she say? She said something, you can see it. His gaze tricks me. You can see it. And she said, see what exactly? And she goes between us. I got confused right here. You can see it. And then it skips a little bit. And Persephone says, see what exactly? What's happening there? Is it because they're
Thought
talking
she
about
was
the
talking about the
glamours and she's
glamour.
kind of left out of she's left out of the conversation because she doesn't know Lyra can see glamours, right? They're like having a conversation without words out loud, right? And so
Yeah.
and
He's
I
just
don't
asking Lyra.
I don't
yeah,
know, but now
and
you guys are confusing me.
I'm sorry, it's my
Yeah, I
fault.
wasn't confused.
I told you, like, my allergies got really bad yesterday, and I'm pretty, like, my head cold kind of situation. Okay, but anyways, I don't know why Lyra went back into, like, how did you get down here? And Persephone stuck with her guns. Like, I already told you we don't know. But then she goes into the story of the first time Hades and Lyra came to her, trying to get her out from Pandora's box.
So she
Yeah.
asks her that again because of what she says at the very end. Like that's why she was kind of leading into telling her that she can see that she's been glamored. That makes sense?
Oh, anyways,
Yeah.
that part is important because she admits that she was waiting
Mhm.
for them at the
The
door.
first time. Or the first few times.
Yeah, she
Is
says
what she said.
before you finally arrived in Tartarus, Lyra, we already knew you were coming to thanks to Phoebe's prophecy and Rhea. She always said you'd come. Way to go, Lyra. She says my heart flip-flops like a fish out of water. I promised Rhea. That was today for me, but thousands of years ago to her. Is that something I always end up doing? What does he say? He says, this is the first we're hearing about it. And back to the we have to be careful not to overwhelm you. There's a lot you haven't heard about.
Mhm.
The Titans had time to prepare to go through like all the scenarios. It was a bit of surprise when Persephone showed up down there about 150 years ago. And she was really unhappy. But then she had to wait for Lyra to be born and then grow up enough for Hades to find her. She's a bit of a crucible. Only the first time around, he didn't.
Yeah, and she's like, didn't what? And they're like, he did not choose you for the crucible because he didn't
He
do
didn't
it.
participate.
He didn't participate.
They had to reset time.
And then she says, at this point, the Titans have been down here so long, they've learned their infinite possibilities. They've also learned when to start avoiding those bits of time so they don't accidentally reset things they don't want to, so they can hurry the future up. I haven't been back to visit the past in a while. And so here Boone's like, so you admit it that you've traveled back in time. The way he says it, it's like he's accusing her of murder, but I know why he said it.
Yeah.
But he's
And
still like,
then-
he won't talk to her about it.
Yeah, he's like, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, and that's another thing I highlighted. The disappointment that crosses her features makes me want to hug her.
Yeah. Like she wants him to bring it up, right? She wants
Yeah.
him to want to talk to her about it. But
And probably
he's not.
excited he remembers her.
Yeah.
It's nice that she's not pressing it so much, though. She could be obnoxious about it. But she does seem at least like she's like, he doesn't like me. Like, I'm still going to be nice, but I'm not going to be like me, like me.
Yeah. Or like think if they are like deep soul, whatever, like Hades and Lyra, and they don't know it, and or he doesn't know it and she knows it, and she's just like in pain this whole time. When he's just like, I hate you.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. He goes through again, like, I don't trust anybody. I'm not going to tell anybody anything about me. Persephone says, I wouldn't trust us either if I were you.
Mhm.
She's just like, well, anyways, can I get back to my story? Because there was a point to it.
Yeah, so she's like, that's when she's like, I wasn't a part of Phoebe's prophecy. And that's when they figured out that Pandora's box was a way for you, Lyra, sorry, to get in.
And I think it was supposed to suck Persephone through the keyhole, but she said that it cracked, but then it shut. And that she tried 2 more times. So she only tried 3 times, it sounds like, before they
Yeah.
gave her up. In all of those realities.
Yeah.
Where it just like wasn't meant to be. She was not supposed to get out that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the prophecy came into it.
Let's see. Persephone is frowning. Yeah, she's talking again about like she's trying to remember. So we do find out she really doesn't know. So that was a theory. Like maybe she knows and not telling anyone, but she's like, no, I just got into Olympus after several months long visit in the underworld. I was living with my mom. Hades was there. she says there was something funny about his face. So a little
That he was glamored still from the wars, right? So we're thinking.
I wrote, was he glamored or was he really upset about what he was about to do? Like,
Maybe.
did he put Persephone there and he knows he's about to
You
have to
know,
do?
Lyra did mention that he can send souls to Tartarus. Didn't she?
I don't
Later
know.
on in this, like in the that part a little bit later,
I
when
guess
she ends up down there and it's chaos.
down there.
Yeah, she does
Yeah.
mention that he sends souls to Tartarus, but he would have
I
had to
mean,
kill
it's
her.
part
Yeah,
of the underworld. Like,
wouldn't she have to be dead though?
The gods
As
probably.
for her soul to go to the underworld and be sent to Tartarus, wouldn't she have to be dead?
I don't think that's how Tartarus works because none of them are dead.
Okay, but
I think it's
they were sealed
like
in
an
differently.
in-between.
I'm
It's
talking
not
about
like
everybody else. Actually, yeah,
All
I'm talking
of
about the other people that get sent down there, not the Titans, because there's hundreds and hundreds of other creatures down there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, but I
Just a
think they're all
thought.
alive because that's the whole point of keeping them locked away.
Like a prison. So maybe he can't. I don't know. Wait, that's something to think about. Like, how do others get to Tartarus? They must be imprisoned or something. There's a way, and we've never learned about it.
True. But I do
think-
have one theory. Like, what if, since now that we know, if we believe that it's, what she's learning is true, which I do, then what if it is Lyra that was able to gain and figure out how to work her powers well enough to actually glamour Persephone, and Hades is then the one that sends her to Tartarus. And Hades would likely know because if he's the one that sends her to Tartarus, so of course he's going to be making sad face.
But Lyra,
Yeah, she
maybe.
doesn't realize that part of it.
It's a theory.
It's a theory.
At the end of the chapter, though, it's just like, Boone, like, you're full of shit. And Lyra's like, I believe you because I can see a glamour on you.
Yeah, I feel
It's
like
just
we
weird
really
she
got
hasn't
into that
seen
one.
it yet. It's just weird she hasn't, like, noticed that yet because she saw Zeus's and, like, she's been seeing more of them. Why is she? I know she's
She hasn't seen
got her
Persephone
powers
since then.
now. Do what?
She hasn't seen Persephone.
Since she came into her power, but when she didn't have her power, like, she was seeing them a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? Was it just when she had the tears of Eos, though? When she saw them?
I think so.
I think so.
That's what it is then. Okay.
Okay, so 43. It jumps to Boone and Lyra are working on an obstacle course, and I believe it's still Poseidon's because they've still got the electric water at the bottom. As they're, Boone's trying to walk her through this, and there's like rotating hammers and crap. I couldn't really follow
I have
exactly
no idea what's happening
what was
right
going
now.
on, and
The
I was just like,
hammers, I'm
okay,
like-
whatever.
They're stepping on them, but they're also trying to avoid getting hit. How big are these hammers?
Yeah, I'm not really clear
Okay.
on I didn't get enough detail on that for it to be truly visual in my head. But as Boone and Lyra are trying to go through this, the pandemonium bell rings, and Kronos, Rhea, and Persephone are the only three down there, and kind of like really talking to them at any point. Which of course they're distracting her, and because this is the first time she's seen either Rhea or Kronos since she learned about the glamour and everything. So she's like all in her feels and like, I'm good. And they kind of get distracted while all of a sudden pandemonium bell rings and chaos kind of ensues. So Kronos is like, you guys stay there. It shouldn't be able to get you up there. And the rest of them take off. Well, at that time, they trying to waltz across these spinning hangers together to a platform that's steady to kind of wait out the pandemonium there because, it could take hours, days. They don't want to be on this rotating carousel for the next day or so. As they're kind of making their way, Boone realizes that one of the time warp geodes is coming for her, and he's like, oh, hell no. Like, he's trying to get away from it. And as he realizes that it's like straight beelining for her, he decides, well, hold on, I'm going to fling you off this thing to try and get you away from it. Well, as she's falling, right before she hits the water, another little time warp geode comes and she falls into that one. And as she hits that one, she's looking up and realizes that Boone is getting hit by a geode time warp as well. This is kind of like the first time we've really seen him go into one. Like, we know he was in one when we first started this section, but we didn't really see how that played out
Yeah.
necessarily, like how he got sucked in. And that's really kind of all that's in that chapter.
I have two things to add. First is when they start the chapter off and they're doing the obstacle course, and Boone decides to do it with her because she can't get it. So he's basically just manhandling her through the whole thing, which I think is going to obviously be brought up later, like as they go through these together. Like, he's going to be a huge part of her ability to get through some of these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's just not doing well on her own. And the other thing I highlighted was just when they're doing all this and they each, all the Titans start showing up like one by one and whatever. She says she sees Rhea and her gaze on me changes, not sharpens exactly, but settles. She knows that I know now, which
Yeah.
I thought was interesting. And then I was like, how? Like, just by looking at her, or like, what are we assuming here? How does she know that she has gone back to that and knows?
Are you saying, how does she know that she knows she knows?
Yeah.
Christy won't get the
all I
reference, but
saw, I think it's just like that silent. I think it was like a silent conversation. Like they just, both of their like faces softened to the other, and it's like this is the only thing that could have happened. Like Lyra is not like frustrated that I'm here. She doesn't seem like she's unhappy that I'm here. Like she softened to me, and that's probably what happened. That's how I took it. But that was
And
the
she-
only part that really stood out for me in that chapter, is that softness they had towards each
Yeah.
other, and
and
Kronos
she
too.
probably doesn't look as distrustfully at her. Like, can't really hide that.
No,
If you
she's even like, I want to jump in this like eel water and get shocked to go to her and like hug her, basically. All she wants to do is go to Rhea. Even if she can't give me answers, like I'm drawn to her right now.
I will say, like, throughout these chapters, I do appreciate the Lyra and Titan's interactions going forward after she learns
Right.
of all of that. Like, I feel like it's much more welcoming, like, for me to read about. Okay.
This next part was a
Anything else
lot.
in this chapter?
Not for me, no.
So 44. I actually really like this one. So it goes straight into Lyra time warps to the underworld, right to the dock of where Charon ferries all the boats in. And there are droves of human souls and boats after boats after boats. And she sees Hades there, and she's like, what the hell is going on? Where are all these souls coming from? When am I? Like, all of this. And Hades sees her and is like, no, you have to get the hell out of here. Like, you cannot be here. It's not safe. Like, you need to go. She's like, I'm not going anywhere. And all of a sudden, the ceiling, which is right under Erebus, is shaking and throwing little pebbles and dusting them. And clearly, in my mind, I was like, if you're in a bunker and there's like bombs going off, like,
Yeah.
that's probably
Dust and
kind of
like
what it
pieces
was
of
simulating.
ceiling.
And again, Hades is like, you need to leave. Like, she's like, what is that? Why is, in true Lyra fashion, she's just asking questions. And Hades is like, get the hell out of here.
I don't have
And
to.
yeah, he's clearly overwhelmed. And she's like, oh, what's going on? Which I honestly kind of don't blame her on that one. But so I can't remember if it's right before or right after this. The gates are becoming literally overrun with human souls. And it is time for Lyra to legit get the hell out of there. And Hades is telling her to go to his room in the underworld. And when they realize the gates are being overrun by human souls, Charon looks across, like, and Lyra and he make eye contact. And that's when she realizes that Charon knew of her whatever existence in the past and never let on one way that he knew about her. So I thought that was interesting, considering she continually brings up, like, no, there's no way he ever saw me because he was always giving me more information and telling more truths than and about Hades through all of this. So sneaky, but I don't disapprove.
Or does he get his memory wiped somehow at some point?
You never know.
We don't know. A lot of people know a lot of things.
Yeah. So once the gates are overflowing and Hades disappears and Charon yells at her like, you need to go. And so she finally poofs up to his room, to which then in all of this chaos, Charon pops up to his room to make sure, like, he tries to be like, oh, I just want to check on you, whatever. And she's like, no, you didn't. You wanted to make sure that I was actually here and that I wasn't just, popping about doing God knows what.
Around, looking in your drawers.
Yeah. And and she does make a point to think to herself, like, we don't have that rapport. He's not, the funny kind of whatever person that he is in the future with me, which is why she says that to him. And then all of a sudden, Carol's like, oh shit, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Poofs out, and she's just kind of waiting for Hades. And I did leave out some details, but I figured you guys
They will deep dive.
Yes.
The first thing I want to say is that, as mentioned in one of the previous chapters, how the souls, right? I was talking about where the souls go. So Lyra mentions, because I'm queen of the underworld, I can hear these souls speak. And she says, the soul's mouth opens on a scream. I don't hear because he disappears as well to the bowels of hell. She's like, to Tartarus? Is that asshole down there with me now? So I'm like, even with these powers, like, Lyra could be someone who can send someone to Tartarus, technically. I think I did say that before. But now I'm like, after you mentioned maybe Hades did it, I'm like, so I'm on the same page, like maybe Lyra did it. Because she needed Persephone to end up down there for some reason.
You're
and she
not
knows that
wrong.
now.
I didn't think about that.
That's why I'm
Especially if her saying that is a knowledge that he can, not a supposition of can he. Because you never know with Lyra.
Yeah. Which is like this whole part, she's battling, like, I can help because I have these powers, but he doesn't obviously know, and she's not wanting to mess up. So she's really struggling, like, do I just
for sure.
do I just sit here and do nothing?
Sure.
Yeah, really, I will say the next chapter was probably like one of my favorite parts in all this.
I wrote, do y'all remember this on this one section? Where they're talking about the Axian Wars, and that's where she realizes that's what she's in the middle of right now.
Yes. Because who was it that was keeping the Anaxian Wars from ending? Because that was mentioned. And it was like doing something was the only way we could get so-and-so to end the Anaxian Wars. That was mentioned like during the Crucible in book 1. Can you guys remember who it was?
This is about to end it.
I don't
He doesn't
know if
end
he
it.
ends it right now. He just stops the. I don't think he ends
In
it.
the next
Well, he might. I don't know.
in the
So
chapter, he says the Axian Wars are ended.
It's done now.
well,
I think it was like something like if this hadn't
with
happened, so-and-so would have
Hestia's death. Wasn't it Hestia's death that
said.
is it me?
No, y'all were both talking at the same time, so I didn't hear what either of you said.
I think it was Hestia's death that was isn't that what they said was the true marker of the end of the Axian
Yes.
Wars?
They did say that.
So Hestia must have died up there, but he says nobody. When
Maybe
she's
we'll
like,
find more details in a bit.
yeah.
But anyways,
I also like that he's like, things have happened here that you may not know of.
y'all
It's just like you and your
interrupted my
sword.
point. I didn't even get to it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, shit.
I thought you got to it already. Go for it.
So
We're more
we've
chaotic instead of
established-
normal.
we've established throughout the Axiom Wars.
Yes.
So he finally looks at me more closely just for a second, sharp gaze, taking a nuance. What do you know of it? She bites her lip. I shouldn't tell him anything, but he also once said I told him to stop the wars or deal with them or something like that. The way he worded it wasn't entirely clear.
I do remember.
Do y'all
reading
remember
that.
this? Okay. That's why I was like, I don't remember what she's talking about here. But then obviously it happened in a second, but I don't remember them coming to this moment or him saying or telling her that she's
Oh,
done this.
let me retract that. I meant I remember reading what you're reading, not reading
No,
her
she's
telling him that previously.
Hades told me I tell him to stop the wars, and I just didn't remember. Was that book 1? It had to have been book 1, right? Because I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
I think that it was probably one of those, like, she hasn't done it yet. She hasn't
Oh, she
gone
knows.
back.
No, yeah, she's the one saying it.
Sorry, I'm confused because when I cut you off by accident, I was just going to say that when she's like, you and your siblings trapped your parents in Tartarus and now you rule Olympus. Is that what happened? That's what I was going to say. So I wasn't trying to cut you off. I was saying something before that, and then the Anaxian Wars are them fighting over it. But what you said was the.
She's saying that Hades told her that she told him to end the wars. So the conversation they're about to have, he's already told her about in some comment. Like, again, it would have had to have probably been in book 1 because she hasn't been to a lot of like future after this moment time.
Well, it couldn't have been book 1 because he didn't tell her squat in book 1.
Yeah, I don't know. But clearly we're
don't know.
supposed to know.
Well, I remember reading this and being like, I don't remember that. But then I was just like, oh, well, there's a lot I don't remember probably. So I just kept going. But I do remember specifically thinking like, well, when the hell did they have that conversation? Like, or was
I'm
it
sure
a
it was
one-liner?
like exactly. I think it was probably a one-liner where he's like being cryptic
Yeah.
or something, and like, yeah, you're the reason the wars are over because you told me.
He could have said it in like one of the first time warps, and it was something so removed that we just didn't pick up on it.
Well, anywho, that was more curiosity if you guys remembered this conversation because I completely did not.
Nope.
So, okay, this is how I took it. I was trying to find the line so I could actually read it. He also once said, I told him to stop the wars or deal with them or something like that. The way he worded it wasn't entirely clear. So, what I was trying to say is that, like, a different version of Lyra went back and told him that. And then he told Lyra and the Crucible that she told him that, or that I think it was probably the Oracle, or what do they call them? The seer. So I think, yeah. So this is how I took it. Like, now she knows she's his seer. And so back when it happened, it wouldn't have been him telling Lyra that she told him to stop. It was just like, I was told that I needed to stop the war. That's how I took it. And I know that's a really confusing way to think through it, but that's how I was trying to explain it.
I mean, it's possible.
Because she says he told me I told him to stop the war.
And the only, like, the catch-22 that made it make sense for me was that she knows now that it was her, but at the time he might have said, my seer told me to do it. But she put, I don't know. I'd have to dive
I get what
back
you're
and check.
saying. And it's not outside the realm of possible.
Okay.
Because clearly none of us remember this exact conversation. So,
yeah. I'm just going to go with it was a one-liner at some point, and it was already a chaotic scene, and we just didn't catch it.
Could it have been when she went back and was like, you're good, like, you're not evil, like, you're going to stop a war?
I mean, he's too young. No, he told her after it had happened.
Okay. I don't know.
Moving on. It's fine. Now we know.
Yeah.
Hades waits for her in the water gardens. I liked reading about that when she's talking to Carol.
I think I just cried.
Yeah.
Hold on. I had something highlighted before. Karen knows also is the first person to usher every single one to the underworld, and the god never forgets, mine included. Why did I highlight that?
Because she's like, he's seen me before, but he didn't say anything, right?
Yeah.
I feel like
he never says anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the part I highlighted too. I was like, I think I just cried. He waits for you in the water gardens.
I did think that was super sweet. Even my deadened soul thought it was sweet.
You darkened black soul. Okay. Hannah, it's you now.
It's not black. It's just charcoal.
A little chart around the edges.
Chaotic because I'm probably going to be going back and forth between the book. So I'm going to actually break this up in chronological order as we go. Because, yeah, this is obviously my favorite
this chapter or the whole section? This chapter or your whole section? Just so I'm prepared.
Probably just this chapter because I had a lot of sticky notes in here about like crying and there's tear marks
hate that you need to just read this whole chapter. So I was expecting
No,
it.
you would. I just thought it was so good, and it's like exactly what we've been needing. His side, like we're getting
Yeah.
little glimpses
Yeah.
here and there, but this is fully like one of the worst probably parts of his existence so far, at least. And we get to hear everything and like how important of a role that she has been in his life since literally he was 3
Yeah.
years old. It's crazy.
I will
'Cause
say that
we're
this
a book
was
and a
one
half
of
in,
my
and we're
favorite
just now
chapters.
getting this perspective. So, anyways, yes. So Hades is feeling terrible about what he just did in a lot of words. He goes back to his room and he had completely forgotten that Lyra was even waiting for him, which just tells like what kind of state of mind he's in. He's been waiting for this girl his entire life, has seen her like 2 or 3 times up to this point, and he just forgets that she's literally there. And
Yeah,
he's
so whatever
like,
the hell he just did has like broken a piece of himself.
yeah, yeah. He comes in and he's like, I don't know how I feel about this. Right after I've done this, she should leave immediately, but he can't make himself go, make her leave. Selfish as always is what he says. I'm like, oh, he needed her. So he crawls into bed and Lyra's there and he's just like, doesn't want to talk. And she's like, the first thing out of her mouth is like, so do you want to talk about it? And he's like, I cannot
Yeah.
handle like being called a monster right now. Um, and she's like, why would I do that? And he's like, I leveled Olympus. And like in his head, he's like going through that about, about his mom is the other half of this is like how terrible he feels. Like his mom is in Tartarus. Olympus was the last place that he had like any part of her. So that was
Which I
really
didn't really ever pick up. Yeah, I didn't realize how big of an influence Rhea had on the Byzantine version of Olympus until you get to like midway down to 24. And like that was heartbreaking.
yeah. So yeah, they're like bantering back and forth. Lyra's really pushing him, okay, what actually happened? Like, you did what you had to do. Is that really the worst consequence of, having to clear out all of what we were witnessing in the chapter right before, all of these souls? And she's like, what about immortals? Did you kill any? What about mortals? Is anybody harmed? Any world-ending apocalyptic consequences? And he just getting annoyed. He's like, no, basically, leave me alone.
I don't want to play this game with you.
Yeah. And she's like, none of the truly worst consequences happened today. So I don't know what you're whining about, which I thought was funny. So he like gets mad and like pins her down. And he's like, I told you enough. And she's like still prodding him. Like, why do you think you're a monster? What did you do that was so monstrous? And then she shouts cuss at him in her queen of the underworld song voice. Is how, not one voice, but legions. And he's like, and I can't fight it. I can't fight the influence of it. Oh, he says, I want to, but I can't. And then, that's when he's like, the Axian Wars are ended. I've wiped the last traces of my mother from the world. Olympus has fallen, and all the remains of Rhea is her rotting carcass in Tartarus. Interesting phrase, rotting carcass in Tartarus.
Does he think they're dead down there? No, that doesn't make sense.
No, because they
why would they
can't
be worried
let
about unleashing them?
Yeah.
Why would they be worried about unleashing them if maybe he just was like, because she's just gonna rot
Well,
down
it's
there.
kind of like, somebody
like a weird
rotting
turn
in
of phrase.
prison.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but that was a weird way to put it on a carcass.
It was.
It was.
Like, I
but,
wonder if
like,
something
that's-
happened at the end thinking, maybe he does think she is dead though, for some reason we just haven't learned yet. Like some
Yeah.
turn that happened
Could.
when they trapped them down there. File that away for later, ladies.
So he confesses all
I
of
thought that
that,
too,
and he's
Hannah.
like, yeah. So then he's like, what is your judgment, my
Is that the
queen?
dogs or is that Chase?
What?
Never mind. Keep going. Sorry.
what is your judgment, my queen? Which we can come back to that, but I'm a little confused based on how this ends. He's like shaking his whole body as he waits for her punishment for him. She says, my judgment is that you were the only God protecting humanity when the rest of your siblings would have trampled over humans like giants clumping through anthills. He says, words that absolve me, words that forgive me, words that understand me, even when I'm a monster. I still can't move, still float in a haze, but I feel a cool wetness as a tear slips down my cheek.
Yeah.
Right to the heart.
There's just something to be said about a big, strong man crying.
Well,
I
and
think
especially everything we know. Like, he has nobody. Like, everybody
Yeah.
is afraid of him. Everybody thinks the worst of him. And, like, he's on his own.
He expects rejection at every turn.
And, like,
And this is
thinks
not like
he's
a
lost.
normal human lifetime. Like,
Yeah.
this is thousands of millennia, like, of time going on.
She says, your penance is to let go of your guilt, knowing that if there had been any other way, you would have found it. And he's like, it's like
What
you.
was your question about that part? Because I feel like we went into it deeply enough that we might as well like
Yeah,
touch
sorry.
that first. No, you're
Yeah, I
fine.
was
No,
like,
it's
we're
good.
coming back.
I'm happy with it.
I think she was saying about he addresses her
judgment.
as my queen. Is that the part you were
It's
saying?
because he
Isn't
doesn't know that she's queen of the underworld, but I think that is the response to the power she held, right? So that is his power as king of the underworld. So whenever he, as king of the underworld, is asked, "What is my judgment, my king?" I think that is a automatic response, almost like
Yeah.
you were in this trance. These are the steps of this confession. I think that's what it is, and then that leads him to be like, "The fuck."
That's what I was thinking as well, but he doesn't bring it back up until the end of the chapter.
I
Like, he
think he
goes
gets
right
so
into,
caught
like,
up on the feelings of it that it takes him a minute to be like, wait a second.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it
because
gets
remember, he's
so
in a
deeply
fog.
emotional.
Like,
Yeah.
he's in a fog of confession. Like,
Yeah.
he has to come out of it before he can really kind of.
And I think he's in it for a while.
probably.
Like that. So I'm glad you wanted
Yeah.
to bring that up a little bit more.
Well, and maybe this is what it's right after this. Like you said, it's part of the whole thing because the next little section here is like, I've been punched straight through my ribs, but instead of ripping out my heart, she's pumping it for me, keeping me alive while she makes me face myself and what I've done. A guttural yell explodes out of me. I shoulder check it back and hold in my pain, but the haze lifts from my eyes and she's here.
So I feel like this is kind of like, so the whole first part of this section was very lacking in like the detail and continuance. It was just like kind of skipping around and then we didn't get a whole lot of detail. And then it was like, bam, all the details, all the feels, like, and you
No,
kind of
that's
just
what I
like,
was like. We just need to read this whole chapter because there's so much in here.
yeah,
like
you're like re-immersed. Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, so she's just like consoling him, soothing him. She's like, I see you. And he's just confused, obviously, because they really don't know each other.
She
He's
says,
like,
I see you all the same, Hades.
yeah. He's like, I told you I destroyed Olympus. No one could stop me. Do you think they didn't try? And she's like, I know they would have. And he's like, that should scare you. Everyone fears me. Blah, blah, blah.
My father would not have swallowed me. My mother wouldn't have let him. Blah blah blah. That part for sure. I'm
Yeah.
over that. I'm
Yeah.
over that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. She's really hammering that one home.
Well, and one quick thing that like I can't decide if it's foreshadowing or I'm reading too much into it, but the part where he says, like when he's saying like, you don't get it, like everybody's terrified of me or whatever, he brings up, he said, there are visions of me, like with an S, which we know there's the major prophecy that they keep going back to, which he does say a prophecy from long ago. I do terrible things, but like,
I think Hannah got to that part yet, did she?
It's
oh,
fine.
did she?
No, it's okay. I was looking for it. That's why.
No, yeah, I was
Okay.
too.
226 is where I was at the,
Okay.
like,
It's okay.
I thought you got there. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was also just trying to find it so I could read it with you.
Okay, so I think he's saying the prophecy is visions, right? When you read it that way. Like, I don't think he's saying there are like multiple prophecies. It's like one prophecy that shows visions of him.
Oh, gotcha. See,
Right?
and that's, I was like, I couldn't tell one way or the other. And I was like, if there's more than one that we're going to have to sift through, like, holy shit goals, man.
Please no. actually
No.
said.
It's gonna have to be more than a trilogy at this point.
Yeah, very specifically, it says there are visions of me, a prophecy from long ago. I do terrible things. I do terrible things.
Yeah.
So
You should
maybe
have
it's
seen their
that.
faces today.
It's one prophecy, but it's showing multiple visions of different terrible things,
Yeah, that's how I
which
know.
are
That's how.
only terrible if they're not glamored. But if they are glamored, then maybe they're not so terrible.
And
that-
I was just right before we move into all of that, because there's a lot to dive into there. He says, you know, in this rage as he's ending the war, he says, my control over it, limiting what I destroyed to Olympus alone, it came only from picturing her face. So she was why he was able to control his powers.
Yeah, and
I
she
totally
has to
missed
convince him of that. Well, she had to convince him of that because he's like, he's speaking of it like I lost control. Like,
so that's what I thought
tonight's
Hannah was going to
proof.
say.
Oh, okay.
Well, that
That's tonight's
is-
proof. But like, no, you didn't. You let the red shame or you let it.
Right. The rage
Well,
didn't control
that's
you.
the second part of that. This comes
Okay.
before she says that. He's saying this to her above where you guys just read down
Okay.
to 6. He says, you know, my control over limiting what I destroyed to Olympus came from her face, from holding her image in my mind, not wanting her to look at me with disgust.
Totally missed that.
I read it, but I can't find it out. It's okay.
It's at the top of 226, Christine.
See, what I was just saying was right before that.
Yeah.
Oh.
At the bottom of 225.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Clearly,
knew it's at the
all three of us
page.
were very, very confused with this section.
It's okay. I just thought that was important. Like, she points
Yeah.
out to him, like, yeah, you're saying that you lost control, but you are saying that you made the choice.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, give yourself more credit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like his whole history is his inability to control the power.
So
And
afraid of it.
killing things, nobody could touch him, and it all stems
like,
from
he
him not
invented
having control,
PTSD.
which he just does. So yeah, then jumping back into the prophecy section, and she's just like, have you done those things? No, then stop worrying about it. Stop serving penance for something that you have never done. And
Yeah.
she's basically like, who are you? Like, scheme. What is she? I don't know exactly where she.
Oh,
Hades,
yeah,
I
I
know,
actually
doesn't
really
sit back
loved
and
that
wait.
part.
He plans, he schemes, he prepares. Can you do that?
Yeah. And he's like, do you believe I can do that with my own fate? She's like, yes, that's simple.
Real quick here. Do you guys remember that he says something like, Lyra told me that I can change my fate? Like, you told me that I can change my fate in this book. Do you guys remember that earlier on?
Not exactly.
I think this is that point because I'll have to find it, but I think it was one of those conversations where we're like, when did she tell him that?
Yeah.
When we were
That was
first,
probably
we were getting
toward
really
the
confused
beginning.
about the prophecy. Yeah, we were confused about the prophecy. He mentioned that, so that helped me a lot hearing that because I was like, this is what happened.
I'll say the very next part was like heart-wrenching for me.
Yeah, I have a bunch highlighted here too. So they're kind of getting into like he's like, wants to be with her, but knows they shouldn't, all of that kind of back and forth. And she's like, I'm here to sleep.
Wait, before that, go to the top of that page. where it
Wait,
starts-
before that,
Okay.
I found the exact thing I was talking about. I have to say it because
So I
It
just
was
want to say I skipped 2 paragraphs in between what I just said and what I moved on to. So I should have just read this chapter.
probably. So it was
Honestly.
like when they were convincing Hades not to bring, it was his first chapter ever from his point of view. And they're convincing him not to bring the underworld down on Tartarus. Like, Lyra wouldn't want this. You know, she wouldn't. And that's when he says, which is what I remember a long time ago when she told me I could choose not to fulfill my grandfather's prophecy. She was so sure that fate lines can be broken. She also once said that she was strong enough to get her own ass out of trouble if she ever came looking for her. So I think that's like a culmination of things.
Yeah.
And that's where he
Oh.
brought it up.
Yeah.
I took that as when she was there when he was like a teenager.
But she
That's
didn't, the
why.
prophecy wasn't brought up then. But, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I
Gotcha.
think that's where the time travel is so confusing. Like, because he says, do you believe I can do that with my own fate? She says, yes.
Yeah.
So that's where.
That's fair.
Okay, Ashley, what was your before
Okay.
that?
The sad part is, and I'll just read it. We don't even have to talk about it, but everybody has to hear it. So
Yeah.
Heaven's this woman. My torment, my hells, and my salvation are all wrapped up in one person who abandons me over and over and yet lifts me up every time she sees me.
Yeah. Like, I'm telling you, every part of this chapter was.
You're not wrong. Like, I will say his perspective is a selling point in this whole book.
But he had the courage to verbalize that to her too, though.
Yeah.
Like, you're the only person that's dared get this close to me. Like, I figured you'd be waiting in the corner, but you're in my bed and you're not
Yeah.
afraid of me. Like, how can this be the way things are? Mine. Lisa's mine.
Oh, I know. That's where I highlighted. I want to keep her. I want her to be ... mine. The first time we hear him like acknowledge this.
You can tell before this, but yeah.
Yeah. He's just like, oh my gosh, she's mine. Then he's like, have you ever met someone and felt as if you've known them your entire life, even though it's only been minutes or hours or days? And then she's like, once. And obviously they're talking about each other. And she's like, what if one day I told you, you and I will be ... friends? And he's like, friends? What the fuck? Like, that's not what I'm interested
Yeah,
in.
he was absolutely against that. Like, not a chance in hell.
Yeah.
And he says it.
My soul rejects that. It's not enough, her as a friend. Now, if you told me you were going to be lovers, that is something I would have an easier time believing.
I'd take the
And
fifth.
I wonder what you would taste
Yeah,
like.
just a kiss. A simple kiss. And then, let's see, things take a turn very quickly
What else
and
is he
abruptly. I was like, what the hell? How is this going to be how we this lovely chapter?
It's
He
because
just
he's like,
literally
are you
out
a
of nowhere.
siren? Like, how did you bewitch
Yeah.
me? And I think, so he's like, what do you say? Like a confession. I think he got his in his head about it.
Mhm.
And then it made him be like, how did she do that to me?
Yeah.
Wait a freaking minute.
When he's starting to like get out of the love haze and like, wait, what is
Hold
happening?
on.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
like
he's
midway on
like,
228. Sorry.
what'd you say?
I was saying you're on like midway on 228 right now.
Yeah. What does she know that I don't? And he's like, can I draw it out of her lips with a touch? And he's like, Lyra, like a confession, siphon of the memory of a single word uttered by lips I was just about to kiss. So then he comes back to her demanding a confession from her. And he says, my whole body goes cold and I narrow my eyes. Confess, I whisper that word. And then fear flutters across her features. She's like, oh, shit, I messed up.
What? Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. When this part came about, I was like, I swear to God, if time resets and we start over from the beginning, I quit. Like, I quit. I
Oh
don't
my
want to
gosh.
this anymore.
There's no way. There's
That would
no
be
way.
miserable. No, I would have a lot of trouble.
I would have quit. I would have told you guys I'm no longer interested in being part of this.
So yeah, now he's mad. And he's like, you used my fucking power.
Yep.
How?
My power over soul's truth.
Did you take that from me? Is that what you do? Take powers that aren't yours? I thought you had power over time, but to have both and the power of souls, it's impossible. Lyra's freaking out. She's like, I can't tell you anything except that I don't take it from you. I would never do that. And he's like, so I give it to you? And she's like, I can't tell you. So now she's on the other end of the I can't tell you train. He's like, has to
Dicey
know
in there.
there's only one way. So he demands it in his king voice. For him, he says, forgive me, my star, but needs must. And then he says, confess, which was still a sweet way to do it.
Fuck that. That was rude.
He did not get what he was expecting at all. He's like, haha, I'm going to get all of her secrets. She's going to tell me everything.
Yeah. She fights him. He can sense it, but he's much stronger. And she says, I love you. She says with a soft, sweet voice that it's almost dreamy. The truth. I stumble back like she hit me. Then she says, no matter what, no matter how, I love you. I love everything about you, the way you care, the way you fight, the way you make me laugh with a dark sense of humor that matches my own. Your strength, the way you kiss and do a whole lot of other things, even the way you keep secrets for my own good, but especially the way you love. Crying again. But also, anybody else run through the 10 things I hate about you speech at the same time?
Yes.
Because the way you're...
And he's so scared. That terrifies him.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just like, it's too much. Her love, she's too precious. She deserves better than me. I can't love her back. I won't. She says, "I will always love you, Hades, forever, no matter what." And then she disappears, cutting off the sounds of the last confession.
Freaking shards.
Okay, time out.
Such a good chapter.
Yeah. And I need you to time out like middle of my chest itches. I need you to cut this out later.
Let's put that in the blooper reel. Ashley digging in her shirt.
Okay, I'll try to get through the rest of mine quickly so
Yeah.
we can get.
No, that one
done.
was important.
Yeah. All right. So back to normal. I'll go through my bullet points and then we can come back there. So chapter 46, The Time to Kill. She is dropped right back where she came from into the electrified water, and Kronos is there. And then, like 2 seconds later, she gets sucked into another time warp. She's at a
Every
rocky
single
beach.
time warp so far. Can I ask you a question real quick? Every single time warp so far has put her back where she was, right? Like she hasn't lost time in now. Okay, I didn't think so.
Correct.
Continue.
And yes.
Well, I wouldn't say she hasn't lost time.
Like in current state, like she hasn't come back later than she left.
I think they
Like a
said like it's been
significant
a few minutes. Like it
Okay.
does feel like it's progressively gotten
Longer, right?
longer. Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking.
So she's at another time warp. She's at a rocky beach and she sees Hades as a 3-year-old boy. So I think we all came to the easy conclusion that
this
we're
part.
about to get the moment.
Yes. This
We've
part
been
was
waiting.
so important. You got the good chapters then.
I know. I was taking notes. Just dang. So she's watching him while she's hidden. He's playing with what we later find out is like a little octopus. And then he starts crying and is like freaking out because he killed the octopus. And he's like, it's dead. Like she knows what he's saying. And he's just like really sad about it, obviously. And in that moment, the sea rises up. It's like 3 stories tall or something and reaches for Hades. So Lyra runs at him to scoop him up and protect him. So she doesn't have any weapons. So she just turns her back to block from him getting.
She has one of them. She has one of her axes, but she's like, if I had both of them, I'd be like,
she's at her to do the big boom.
big boom.
Yeah. So she's holding him. Nothing happens. She turns around and she sees Kronos in between the water and her and Hades. And he's arguing with.
Not Kronos, right? Kronos
Yeah.
isn't there yet. It's Oceanus.
It's Oceanus.
It's Oceanus and Uranus.
So
Such a
I
child.
also thought it was Kronos in the very beginning, but Kronos isn't there yet. He's about to get there.
But then why are they stopping the water?
Kronos gets there too. So what
So
happened is like the
Oceanus-
water comes in, right? And Oceanus is trying to protect Hades at first from
Right.
Uranus. That's
So
why
I
the
see.
water
Not
is
let
in a
you
big
harm his father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you assume it's Kronos.
That's
But
why I
it's
thought it was.
Oceanus.
Kronos.
Yeah.
Got it. So Oceanus is also protecting Hades in this moment.
Yep, right at this very moment, yeah.
Okay, that's important. I did not catch that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Oceanus is in between her and Hades and Uranus. They tell Lyra to leave, but she refuses. And then another wave comes up, but this time Hades protects her. And he says, what does it say? Like, no hurt. Oh, yeah. I said bawling again.
Yeah.
No hurt you, Hades says in his small voice. I look down at him and see he has erected a covering of rock all around us, black and glassy obsidian.
So I don't know why, like side take for us, but when I read that part, like I heard P saying it, and I was like, oh, like in P's little voice. But keep going.
Let's see. Then we've got a shard of obsidian hits Hades at his forehead, which Lyra mentions he still has a scar and has white hair right there.
That's where his white streak is that she's so fascinated with.
Mm-hmm.
Which did anybody else think about? Remember in her last time warp to like when it was the Olympians and the Titans fighting, it said that Phoebe didn't have the crescent moon white mark yet.
It's from an injury. It's a scar. The hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
So yeah, okay. Yep.
Did not catch that. So now Cronus is here. He's warning his father, and he slices him in half because his father's. He's like the prophecy. You know, we got to do
Kind of.
this. And what?
I was like, kind of.
Think
He
he ever- did he say-
disembowels him.
I just said he cut him in half.
He
Well, it's
castrated,
important.
then disemboweled him.
Yes, and that
because
is
he spills his blood
crucial
and semen.
into the ocean, which is crucial for the end of it. But keep going.
Yeah, he's like, "Forgive me, mother." Cronus whispers, "is broken." And in the next blink, he shoots out of the water so fast you can see him and slices through his gut, spilling his intestines and blood and semen into the ocean waves. And then we find out Kronos has the only weapon that will kill a god.
And primordials.
The what did he say? The scythe
Scythe.
is the god.
It's like a
Love it.
sword kind of thing. Right, Ashley? Scythe.
It's the scythe is what everybody depicts a reaper with.
Oh, yeah.
So then,
I can only
Kronos' warning his brother Oceanus to leave and never come back. Kronos takes Hades from Lyra and just leaves without saying anything at all to her. Then Lyra is kind of wandering and she's like, "How the heck do I get back?" And then she starts noticing that the ocean starts frothing and the water is gold. And she goes back to her boulder. Yes.
So one thing I just was two things. One, that's a nice boulder. The way you said boulder just a time ago, I had to say it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go back and clarify one thing that I feel like is really important since you didn't realize until just now that it was Oceanus in the beginning. So Oceanus is protecting Hades, right? And Cronus isn't there yet. And he's like, "I'm not going to let you do this." And Uranus says, "Hold on, you have to see." And it's like he gives him the vision. And then all of a sudden, Oceanus
failed him. I think he forgets.
Who would have thought Ashley's the one paying attention to the details? That's huge.
Did I just steal that from you? I'm sorry.
No,
He glamoured
that's
him
exactly
in that
my
moment,
point.
right?
So I don't know if he.
Let me
Is
show
he
you. I don't think he
glamored?
gave him a vision. He just, no, I'm not telling you to be quiet. I was like, I don't think he gave him a vision. I
No,
think he
I know.
glamoured him.
No, I'm agreeing with you with my bodily gestures. Yeah. And there's such a
Because
lag on my
he-
end that I can't really tell.
But he changed so drastically from "I'm going to protect you" to immediately like, "You have no part in this. Sit the child on the ground and leave." And I think there would have been a bit more argument like, "Hey, Dad, yeah, you already told me about that shit. Like, you still don't need to kill this kid." But a glamour
Right.
would have had no rebuttal, no refusal at all whatsoever. God.
And they've never gone into detail about the exact abilities of Uranus. So,
But all
again,
of them
with
can
Gaia-
glamour. All of the powerful gods can in primordials.
yes. And so, and it wouldn't be difficult for him to glamour Oceanus, just the one. Like, that's not a big thing. And he's a primordial. So, he's definitely not a big thing. Curious.
She
and we
keeps
don't know what
mentioning that they sound
happens.
sad about it.
So I do think that, like, yeah, it's terrible what they're doing, but they still understand that it's still their family. It's still a child. They don't want to have to do it, but they're trying to like make the good decision for everybody, for the world and whatever. And possibly themselves, right? Especially if the prophecy is that Hades is going to kill him or whatever, even though joke's on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
Kronos is like, "I'm not going to let my son be a killer this young." And like Hades had every intention of doing everything he possibly could to protect himself. And he was turning those shards against his grandfather and his uncle.
Yeah.
And Kronos protected him from that fate.
Yeah.
It's so young. I ship Kronos now.
oh yeah. But that was all I wanted to like. I just wanted to make sure we all understood that no matter
No,
what
yeah, I
the
did
cause
not.
was,
So,
like
yeah.
Uranus did something to either enlighten or manipulate Oceanus
Yeah.
at that point. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's the point of why they call him a traitor. They might not know if he's truly involved with the whole glamour part, but he did actively try to murder Hades as a child. So in that moment, he was a traitor, just like
I think
Uranus.
it just depends. If he disappeared, like Kronos told him to right now, we do not hear from again. Yes, that absolutely makes sense. But if he comes back,
Yeah.
there's more to it.
Well, and he's got to come back at some point because Hades is only 3. And they talk about he actively did not take part on either side of the war. So, like, he had to somehow be in communication with some of them.
Yeah.
during this for him to be part of the conversation.
All right,
And
I'm just going to
abandon is
mention
what?
it.
Yeah.
I'm just mentioning a time check. It's 10.
I mean, you're the one
Ugh.
that spent 2 hours on a chapter, Anna. So I'm just kidding.
I'm just keeping everybody
I'm
aware.
joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I
Well,
think we covered.
if we, I mean,
So, anyways, let's
depending
just
on
jump back.
how long that this goes, anyways, we might have to break it into 2 segments during editing,
No.
anyways, if we want to keep it to an hour.
These are not, none of them are an hour. Okay.
Did you,
You
get
clearly
to the end
haven't
of it?
watched. No, I haven't.
Yeah, you did.
clearly
You
did
got to the
not
part
watch-
where
I
Oh, it's
didn't.
the next chapter.
came at the end of
Okay.
this chapter.
My
Keep
God,
going.
me. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to.
Yeah.
An echo.
Okay.
Away from me.
We're moving on. What started when you joined? Okay, so Lyra's noticing the frothy water and that the water is gold. So she's hiding behind the boulder, and then water explodes 100 feet in the air, creating like a platform above. And she notices that there's a figure on top of it,
But yeah, this is the next chapter.
which she then notices is Aphrodite. So then Aphrodite's like brought to the shore and she cries out in devastation. And then all of a sudden, Cronus, Rhea, and Iapetus show up and they take her. And Rhea says that they must find her power so she can't finish what Uranus was trying to do to Hades.
This was the most important part of this, I think. Though, wouldn't that make her a titaness rather than a goddess? Aphrodite has some worse involvement here, I think, as a titaness.
What if, okay, just follow me here. What if, twist of all evil twists, Aphrodite is involved in the glamour?
Yeah, they said we must bind her powers. She can't be allowed to finish what your father wanted to do to Hades. She is born of him.
Only.
They bound her entire life. There is so much more to her.
Like,
I
does
agree.
she know?
She's in.
I don't think she's on their side. I think maybe she does not know, and then she is the answer at the end of all of this.
I
No.
don't know.
And remember,
think-
Lyra does not ever make it through Aphrodite's block.
But I'm wondering.
Because it's the last one. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering if she doesn't ever get through Aphrodite's lock because she's going off of what she thinks she knows about Aphrodite. But in truth, Aphrodite is the turncoat.
But yeah, I think, I don't know, with that, I got really like, what is happening? Like, how could Aphrodite even had a part in binding them to Tartarus if she's a titaness herself? Like, her lock is something completely different, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is why she's never been able to pass it because it's
Yeah.
not like the others.
Yeah, there's something. I have this theory, like, that she found out somehow. Like, somebody
Mhm.
got to her and she's playing both sides, like pretending.
Oh.
No, it's not that.
Chrissy and I
Agree.
just had this exact conversation while you were redoing.
Well,
It wasn't recorded though. Keep going.
Sorry.
It wasn't recorded.
but what if Aphrodite is the turncoat? And because she's a titaness, she actually got her powers unbound somehow. And she's the one that has glamored everybody.
And Lyra even says, apparently her weakness isn't love. Her weakness is whatever they did to her, indicating that she has something to freaking unleash.
Mm-hmm. Like, I kind of wouldn't blame her a little bit.
Oh no, if you find out that happens,
I
it's
know.
fine.
Yeah, my theory on that is not that she's like working against them. I'm thinking maybe she still doesn't know either. And that
I
but
hope we find out.
her lock knows.
Damn.
Okay.
Like, maybe she's
And then
just Uranus.
and like she's gonna end up a key somehow to this.
And what if,
Obviously she's gonna be a big role.
what if Aphrodite is Uranus and he came back as the one thing that would lower all their defenses, the goddess of love?
She's a reincarnation.
That's done, right?
No,
No.
just that she's like, she gets pulled back in. And it's been days.
Yep, let's see. Yep, timer returns Lyra. She was gone for a few days. She runs to hug Kronos immediately when she gets back. And she's like, you always loved your children. I'm so sorry that they were made to do this to you.
I loved that.
Rhea says she knows. Kronos says things are going to be different.
So chapter 48, a true labyrinth down here. Boone is still gone. So now he's been gone longer than her. It's been a few days, which is the longest for her and definitely you know,
we've
this being
seen.
only Boone's second time. Yeah. So they're helping Lyra try to learn the tunnel. She's blindfolded because they want her to know the lay of the land if the pandemonium strikes so she can hide or that she won't get lost when she's running. So this is really just like a lot of family banter.
Her humming and like all of her tells.
Yeah, which is the biggest part of this whole chapter, really. So Iapetus asks her, why are you making noises? Why are you humming? And he's like defending himself. He's like, I'm just curious. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick. And she's like, it relaxes me. Yes, it's a tell. And then she pauses and she's like, have I never done this before? So they learn that she's never hummed and this is something new.
From her trauma, probably. The reason she's
Also-
skinny and short.
Yeah, it has to be, this is going to come back at some point to be crucial to this time around. So they keep walking the tunnels and they're squabbling again. Kronos and Iapetus going back. He's like, I'm not the only one. Because Iapetus is like, Kronos is just waiting for you to finally trust us.
He says that Cronus is always very grumpy until you figure out that you can trust us.
Yeah.
And he's like, you.
He's like, I'm
Iapetus,
not the
you-
only one. And then Lyra runs into Iapetus because he turns to conversate with Kronos, and then she pulls off her thing and she's like kind of annoyed and she's like, I'm finding all the glamming around here to be really distracting. And
Yeah.
that's how the chapter ends.
I don't think that there was anything like any other meat that was left out from that.
No.
Okay, so then chapter 9, this is harder than it looks. So Lyra's seeing apparently these glamour doors all throughout when they're teaching her to map out Tartarus so she can stay safe. There are a lot of them and nobody has any idea that they're there. She's trying to point them out. They cannot see them. So they go down this rabbit hole of trying to get her to master her glamoring skills. Kronos brings up like, you need to be able to turn your power off. It's like a huge drain on your power. So they practice for hours, turning it on and off. And finally, Koios is like, close your eyes and picture something like ways to turn things on and off. She pictures a light switch and it's like, boop. I'm sure everybody was like, are you kidding me? So she does figure out how to turn it off and then back on, but she cannot get how to remove them and eventually just gives up on that. And then Boone is still gone, as you mentioned. She decides that she's going to have to go ahead and go into Demeter's lock tomorrow if Boone doesn't come back. And that chapter ends with the pandemonium bell going off again. And everybody just kind of scatters. And you don't really even, there's like nothing comes of it that you see. They're not running or anything. It just closes off. Oh, they go in a room.
Yeah, they're all stuck in like a.
They're protected. But they hear a scream in the tunnel.
Yeah. The only thing I would add is before they start working on her glamoring, she says, should I just go through the door? Because she can see the door. And Kronos is like, no, absolutely not. I'm not going to risk
It's a really bad idea.
And
He says, I'm
she's
not
like,
risking you.
yeah. And then she like kind of spirals about it a little bit. And she's like, that makes me feel like he actually cares about me. And it's not just because I'm the answer to get you guys out.
Yeah, that was a good part.
Yeah.
Like I did write mine with the intention of like going back
Yeah.
and filling.
No, yeah, you're good.
So that's perfect. I don't think there was anything else. I like that seems sketchy. I'm not sure what sketchy is.
Yeah.
You know me, I like the like random lingo that they're like, what the hell is she saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And then chapter 50. They all make it through the pandemonium except for Koios and Krias. Krias, they were touched, so she doesn't see them again. They didn't let her see them because they wanted her to stay focused on her task. And she is now up on the bridge, staring at the darkness. She kind of wonders, like, man, I'm right by this door. Hades, was right on the other side, like banging on it for me, but he's not there now. There's no way he's there now. Let's see. She's staring at the darkness. She's going to go down into Demeter's labor now. And she's talking to Persephone about how Boone has seen her in different times. So she tells Persephone this, but Boone still will not bring it up. And Persephone doesn't give Lyra anything about it. So she just kind of brushes that off too. And then as Lyra's kind of nervous, Kronos takes this little butterfly out and breaks it in half and gives half of it to Lyra. And he explains that Hades made it for him. And she's like, why'd you break it? But it was, he gave it to her to help ground her in reality during the lock. And he keeps the other half and he says when she's done, he's going to put it back together. So they have this sweet moment where she's like, he doesn't want me to go through this lock. You don't want me to go through the lock. And he's like, no, I don't. Like, you have a hard time with this lock and you've had a hard time in it before. And she has this, wait, did I skip over that? I don't think so. Oh yeah, yeah. So she goes through, she's brought it up a couple times, like goddess of irony, right? She said that multiple times in the book, the goddess of irony, the goddess of irony. And she brings this up again, like this self-fulfilling prophecy. And she brings up her curse again because she didn't ever get a chance to ask Zeus how he worded it and what it's actually supposed to be like, because she made friends and she fell in love while she was on this curse. And just as we've been talking about this whole time, and especially you guys, I feel like y'all are more like into it, that she's made it worse. And she's finally reflecting on, like, maybe my curse wasn't as bad. And she says that let's see, she made it worse by blocking people out by her reactions, perceptions, and expectations. So I made that note in my head, like, I'm glad you finally got there, Lyra. Because then she just like jumps down in to start the next walk after that part.
Yeah. A couple things to add. Adding to my Boone Persephone theory,
Mm-hmm.
they're talking about let's see, she's telling Lyra that Persephone and Lyra are always friends. So she's again like, I'm not worried. We always end up friends.
She wishes she could go down there with her and help her.
Yeah.
And Lyra's still like, man, I don't know. But she sees like we're gonna end up friends.
Yeah, but the point is they're talking about Boone. And she says she pauses thinking an unknown. And then she whispers always has been.
To herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So building more history. Let's see. I marked a
But
couple
and she
things.
said that before Lyra brought up, like, Boone said he's seen you on scores before. Yeah, that was a
She mentions the butterfly tattoo, that we are always referencing how the butterfly was the last tattoo to not want to leave Hades to get to her, which is just adds to the whole butterfly aspect. And then yeah, you brought up the curse, and that was all.
So the only thing that I thought was interesting about really that is the whole butterfly not wanting to leave Hades. And, the owl was more his mom. And it's interesting to find out now that the butterfly that didn't want to leave is more representative of Kronos.
of their relationship.
And yeah, and like the butterfly wanting to stay and I don't know, be protective or whatever of Kronos or of Hades. And then again, he was always proud of his relationship with Kronos before the glamoring. Like when she brought up like, you sound just like your father. And then she thought he was going to get pissed, but he was like, oh, well, thank you. So I thought that was interesting to say the least.
I like that he told him, my son told me that some things, no matter if they're destined to face imminent doom, are too precious not to be protected.
All right, I don't have any notes for the next couple of chapters.
So in 51, Demeter's lock. The AI Demeter behaves a lot more like Hades than Hestia, and Lyra's taking that down to like, well, it's probably because Hestia is dead and everybody else is still alive. The lock's going to test her genuine kindness. Demeter tells her to think of some running gear, and so she's like, she ends up in sneakers and yoga pants and a sports bra and a sports shirt, and a field of wheat. Demeter raises her hand. There's a table in front of her with a cup of purple-looking liquid called kykeon, and this drink is supposed to have hallucinogenic properties. Demeter tells her she has to make it through 3 stages of a test to unseal her lock. And she's going to see things and going to have to save them. And it's funny because Lyra's like, well, I mean, I need saving. Who's going to save me? What about me? Demeter shares that sometimes Lyra can't take the drink or the hallucinogens or her own hatred. I couldn't figure that part out. Like, she's like, sometimes you usually can't take it. And I'm like, and she has that realization, oh, this version remembers things as well. Like,
Yeah.
she's remembering past experiences, but I still like could not figure out, like, you usually can't take it. Was she saying the drink? Was she saying her own hatred?
I think she's letting on that she usually doesn't make it past the first test in this lock. Like when she
Maybe.
doesn't win the lock, it's because of the first one.
Yeah,
That's
and
how I
like
took it.
adding on to Chronos, where he was just like, "This one's really hard for you."
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But I think she learned so much that she is like with this experience because it has been worse. Like her childhood was worse this time, and it's brought up a lot of times that probably prepared her for this better.
Was thinking
Yeah,
the
with her
same
mom.
thing. Like this might be the time when the curse actually kind of helped her out, kind of like with the sirens thing. Like,
Well, the curse is new.
right.
Like this is the first time with the curse. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Lyra goes ahead and takes off in the direction, and she starts hearing her mother talking about her when she was 3 about turning her over to the order. So she's saying things like he's going to be your mentor. Don't respect him. You have to go with him. Lyra's like having this realization that she could remember this happening and how hateful her mom was during it. And she's trying to work her way through that. Here's an animalistic growl that makes her start running. So this is very reminiscent of her in the field, the labor where she got super injured and like I didn't even take the note of it, but she mentioned she expects hands to start reaching out and ripping off her flags and her to lose her mind and her courage.
Yeah.
But then you have her mom saying things. I'm trying to see if she said them here. No, in the next chapter. Oh, wait. Do you have anything to add to this one? No?
Mm-mm.
Okay. She's like really annoyed that it's her mom again. She's like, you guys are really unimaginative. So, and then her mom scorns her, don't anger the gods. All right. Chapter 52. Save the one who didn't love me enough. Her mother's fighting her because she doesn't know why she's running. She's like, why are you running? Don't run away from the order. You're going here. And she's talking to her like that. She says, I can't wait to be rid of you. That really
That was
hurt
a
Lyra
total.
lot. Get off of me. I can't wait to get rid of you. And I love Lyra because she just took her axe and she fucking knocked her out.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm done with you. I am so done with you. I don't have to listen to this anymore. You are the worst. And so she picks her up and carries her out like firefighter style. She bursts from the wheat field into an open pasture. And thankfully, at that point, the field disappears and her mom disappears. And she doesn't have to deal with that bitch anymore.
And does she
And then
say something like, I don't need you either? Right before she
Yeah.
knocks.
she does. She says, see, fine, I don't need you either. After she knocks her out, though.
I just want to say,
No,
like,
wait, no,
go
no,
me.
it was before. It was
She
before
said
she knocked her
that.
out. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was before she knocked her out. You useless excuse for appearance, as she's like heaving her along.
Mhm.
And then she's really mad. She's like telling Demeter, F you. Okay. So then she goes through another one. She is in some ancient looking stone walls and she's got another yummy juice ready to go. She downs it. She doesn't really know what's going to happen, but like this tractor behind her, and she's like, I'm not a farm girl, I'm a city girl. I think it's a combine, but basically has this like wheel that looks like it's probably going to kill you. And Hannah's favorite guy shows up.
I just want to say, we all grew up in the country and like I couldn't even tell you anything about how to operate a freaking combine.
Like maybe recognize it. I feel like though she's like, who am I saving now? And what in the fires of all the hells are you doing here, Kyrus? I had to fucking ask.
Mhm.
I just had to ask. We didn't ever figure out what the monster was either. So
Yeah.
that was left as a mystery. Anything to add? Okay. All right. 53. Save the one who made my life a hell. And Lyra starts out recalling like how mean Chance was to her and how he made her life harder instead of ignoring her. So like he was the only pledge who didn't ignore her, but it was so much better with the pledges that did, essentially, because he was so unkind to her. She's trying to like be like, can you see that? Like, you're good. You know that like that will hurt you. Like, can you run on your own? Or I might have to like, carry this guy too. And of course, he like tries to knock her down first off. He runs a little bit and then he's like, I'm going to climb the wall. The machine's like, no, and trying to get him still. So it keeps like backing up and going up. There's like, well, I guess I'm going to climb too. But he kicks her off the wall because he's a dick. She's on the ground, like trying to figure out what to do next. Like, can I go around it? What do I do? She ends up letting it pass over her and gets behind it. And then she pretty much just karate chops it, like takes her axe, she busts the window down and just starts hacking at this thing until it dies. Thankfully, when that happens, like that's what she needed to do. I mean, there might have been another solution, but that worked out. And of course, like he calls her a bitch at the end. Like, she made sure he didn't die. And he's just like, what was that? Like, I knew you were going to try and kill me, you bloodthirsty little bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course,
Yeah. I really don't like him.
no. And luckily, he just is gone now. And she moves into the third challenge. It's a large silo looking building. And she takes the next drink, wondering what who she's going to have to save. But of course, she gets sucked into another broken time shard. And that is the first time this has happened during a lock.
Wait,
There was one.
wait.
Sorry, go ahead.
Before she gets sucked into this time warp, she sees who the next person is that she has to save.
No. Yes. No.
No?
Yes?
No, she doesn't see it before the end of this chapter. She says, which horror of a human being am I supposed to save now? I called to the goddess. But instead of another person peering, the blood red crack of broken time bursts through the wall and swallows me whole. It doesn't reveal it yet. It's the next chapter.
Then how do I know who
Girl,
it
I'm
is?
looking at the book.
Yeah, first time suck.
Gotcha.
I was like, I'm looking at the book right now.
I was like, I'm confused. Like, how do I know who it is? Okay. Sorry, keep going.
Well, I know. But there was one thing that I noticed when I went back through it that I wanted to say, but I probably don't. It probably doesn't matter. Oh, she had this flash when she was falling, Boone falling during Hephaestus's labor and like dropping to his death. I'm sure that like threw her away. Is it my turn? But she
Yeah.
was okay. Anything else to add to chapter 53?
Nope.
Okay. All right. We're going into the last chapter of section 4 then. Chapter 54, A Stitch in Time Saves No One. So obviously, this one does not go well. Lyra gets dropped into one of the worst times of her past, right at the Colosseum in Rome during Athena's labor, about to watch Dex kill Mika again. And of course, she's like, well, I have the power to do something now. And she's trying to run down to stop it. But Hades is right there. And we don't remember Hades being there during this labor. He didn't even come and get her when this labor's over because before this, they were separated. He had already cut her off, right? So he was not there when she went through it. And so he shows up, he snatches her down to the underworld. Charon's like, did you break the rules again? Like, what the hell's going on? And he's just like, no, Lyra's up there. She's still in the games, but she's here too. And it makes you think like Chiron knew a little bit about Lyra, but had never said anything at that point because he doesn't freak out. So he kept this really big secret apparently when he met her during the Crucible, not telling her that they had met before.
Well, I didn't gather that necessarily because he is trying to hide her still. So it's not like he's just staring at her, but he does say, "Isn't that Lyra you're holding?"
And then Hades
Yeah,
knocks him
that's
off.
because he recognizes her from that. But I have to find it. I thought he said something too, but it might have just been in my head. But I'll look and see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, 'cause it was really quick. And she's like hiding because she didn't want him to see them. And then she's like, she needs help right now. You need to send him. And he immediately gets sent away. Not saying what you said could be wrong, but we don't get that much input
Yeah.
on does
Well,
he
and
know
remember-
or not.
Okay, you know what it was? This is I got it mixed up in my head because does he not know that Karen has already seen me before? But maybe it's better if he doesn't know. And did you interfere in the games again? And he says, she is, past me is still up there. So she's thinking this. She needs help right now. She needs to get out of here. Yeah, I might have just taken it the wrong way. But I do remember something about that, but it might have been from an earlier chapter. Anyways.
Well, and Charon is probably super good at keeping secrets from everybody. I mean, he's literally as old as the primordials. He was created prior to the Titans, FYI.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I went off on this tangent in my notes and I don't even know where it came from, honestly. Who knows what Christy was doing. But yeah, Hades is like, he does bring her down.
Up of 268.
Oh yeah, I'm going through my notes though.
Before
he tells so Hades does go in and bring her down to the underworld to get her away from other Lyra or any of the other people seeing her. Charon, she tells Hades to send Charon to go help Mika. And apparently it's too late. He needs to go get Lyra. Lyra apparently had told Hades to be waiting in this archway at the Colosseum for her. She had come to him right after the water garden situation and told him to meet her in that archway but she does not know when she would have done that. Like, she cannot pin it or why. And he's like, this whole chapter was very confusing to me. I'm just going to give you that. He's really confused that she's on Kaikion or whatever. And she's trying to tell him something, warning him that there's somebody with powerful ability to glamour gods and make it stick for longer than short periods of time. He's like, I don't think anybody could do that to me. I'm too powerful.
Well, she's
And then
still
she just said,
drunk.
yeah, right. She's like, she
Yeah.
cannot get her point across. So I think I can't tell if it's as confusing for in the story as it is for me.
So I think she's also trying to say, like, it could be somebody that you think is me, but it's really not me. Because why would I do that? Like, why wouldn't I have you save her? Like, why would I tell you to meet me right here? Why would I do that?
Yeah,
Like,
she's so confused.
yeah.
Why didn't you save Mika? Why? The labor was over. She won. It wouldn't have been interfering. And he's like, you didn't get there soon enough. There's nothing I could do. She's like, why were you waiting for me? Like, why were you even there? You told me to. Why wouldn't I have told him to save Mika first? Why me? When? When did I tell you to do that? And that's when he said, like, you came right after you gave herself to me in the water garden after I took us back to your rooms in Olympus late that night. So he must have that must have been when he got up in the middle of the night and she's
Yeah.
like, you have to do all these things.
Yeah.
No, because he already broke her heart.
No,
I don't
this
know.
is no, he says this is the night after or the night of when
Okay, so
they
it
had-
wasn't the same instance. So at the same time that she told him to break her heart, she told him to come there at that point. Weird.
which we haven't got to. Or like we
Uh-oh.
haven't
Yeah.
gone back and
So-
read yet.
That's all us
Yeah.
assuming that that's what the truth is. We haven't actually read.
Yeah, she comes back into it deeper. Like in his current timeline, that was days before this moment, right before he went cold and broke my heart. In my own future, I haven't done that yet, but I must tell him how to put me through hell all over again. But wouldn't that be risking resetting everything? I know the Titans reset time to make sure I end up in Tartarus, but would I do that? But yeah, so this is where I got really confused. There's another explanation, a worse one, a more terrifying one. I think there's someone else. Is she trying to say that she thinks there's someone that's glamoring themselves to be her and telling Hades other things? Okay, I thought
Yeah.
so, but I was like, what? Because
That's how I
her
read it
drunk
for
ass is not
sure.
making sense to me. Yeah. Listen, there's somebody powerful, and then I went through that. What if they glamored you? What if they're ones lying to you? They could have told you. And then, of course, she gets sucked back into a damn fissure, and apparently it doesn't want her to say more. That's what she's gathering here because it just takes her off. She says, listen to me, glamours, it's bad. And she's like, I know I sound wrong, but the words are true. Let's see. Time
Yeah,
follows
that's
her
when
back
he-
into the silo. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's when he tells her, like, nobody would be able to glamour me.
Yeah.
I would know it was you. Which I took that
Yeah.
more as not because he's too powerful, but because their connection is
Yeah.
too powerful.
Like his kiss is on her. Like she is
Mhm.
his. Like he would know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she tries to ask him how he would know, but she couldn't hear his answer because the crack swallowed him.
Yeah.
And she's back in the middle trying to unseal Demeter's lock. And this is where there's another figure trapped in the silo with me now, a girl splattered in bugs, green and yellow blood and guts. A hallucination of the same Lyra who just came out of Athena's labor, who let Mika die and who was part of Dex's death. I was part of that. The monster of a human being I have to save this time is me. Which is kind of ironic because she's like, well, who's going to save me? You are,
Well,
bitch.
And I almost said, like, when you said that, I almost said, dun, dun, dun. The
Yeah.
goddess of irony
And
again.
She said it.
And this is going to be what's like the hardest for her. Why they're all like,
Absolutely.
you had such a hard time with this. And like, here's this, the butterfly's going to come back like to ground you in reality because
Yeah.
now she's dealing with two of her.
She almost always puts herself last, too. So it is absolutely not natural for her to try to save herself. It's going to be a struggle.
One other
Yeah,
thing I was
but-
going to point out
No, go ahead.
when she's explaining to Hades the glamoring and he's like, no, I would know if it was you. She says, because I think it would break him. I can't tell him that I know for certain that he locked up his innocent parents. She doesn't say, like, because I think it'll break time or anything like that, but because it will break him. She holds that to herself.
Yeah. Like
Which I would
he is
think
not ready for that reality yet.
Yeah, but she doesn't even think,
I
like,
agree.
you can't tell him because it's gonna break all the progress that you've made this so
Yeah.
far. She just doesn't want to hurt him. Well, that was part 5.
Yeah.
Did y'all have any other topics for that?
That was part 4, babe.
Sorry, yeah, right. Did y'all have
It's
any other
okay.
things for that?
Nope. We are officially halfway through.
We want to
You want to do Brooklyn?
do
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't last week because it was also a 3-hour, which this ended up being also nearly 3 hours.
We had some technical difficulties in there at least.
Not very many this time. I was actually thinking how quickly, like, we haven't had that many tangents to break up. So I'm
But how
worried
did
this is
it
going to be
last so long still? I don't
'cause
understand. We went through like
I think-
entire sections, like a quarter of the book faster than this. What are we doing differently?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're excited.
I mean, yeah, you guys keep saying like this would go quick, but there was a lot of, again, like tying into all of the discussions we've had up to this point.
Yeah. It's true.
So much happened. We've got
fair.
Aphrodite, we've got Persephone, we've got Boone's traveling. She's went back in time like 5 times in this
Yeah.
section. Like she
Maybe
just said
it's
boom,
and
boom,
like
boom.
back to back.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's also because like we all only had to do a third of any kind of like note taking technically. So like I know it was faster for me to read it as well. Like
Did we like that? Did we like breaking it up and like kind of splitting the responsibility there?
I personally
I
did 'cause
ser-
I hate taking
Not having to do
notes
it.
while reading.
Well, I didn't take notes while I'm reading. Like I said, I went back, I read the whole thing and then I went back
Yeah.
and I
That's
used my voice. I talked to text and I summarized it. And then I went back and fixed it. It was great.
Like I barely have enough
Yeah,
time to fit in like the first go round.
Okay.
Like
Well, before this is now a section I'm going to have to cut out. So let's just wrap it up and then we can banter.
Okay. Bookends. I could go first. And I would say that my down is figuring out that Aphrodite was born of Uranus's blood and intestines and semen, because I've loved Aphrodite this whole time.
Fun.
And I really thought
I
she had really
told
good
you guys
intentions,
that
but
like
now
3
Oh, I'm sorry.
sections ago.
well, I thought she had really good intentions and she's one of the ones that's actually kind. But she did betray her and that never was addressed. You know, like she betrayed her at the end and told Zeus. About Demeter and about Persephone, remember?
Maybe that's tying into all of this. Maybe she did that
Maybe.
to stop that because she knew all of this other stuff had to happen first.
Yeah, maybe. So that was my down. And I think like all of chapter 45, 46 was my up. Getting everything from Hades and yeah, all of it. The love, all the feelings. Those are my bookends.
Yeah, I would say the exact same. Chapter 45, like, may go down in history as one of my favorite chapters in a book in general because it was just like everything we've been needing. Like, we were questioning so much because she's questioning it so much. And it's the first time, literally, in the book and a half that we fully get everything from his perspective and like him be super vulnerable and again realize like how integral she's been in his entire life.
Yeah.
So yeah, 45 was a high probably.
45.
I mean, we're only halfway through, but it might definitely take the chapter of the book, if not more than that. But my low, I don't know necessarily what like my low was because there was just a lot of information in this in general. It wasn't necessarily a lot of back and forth on negative stuff. I mean, obviously my least favorite character is back, so I guess that's my low.
That asshole.
I actually so my low I think is how confusing because of the lack of like real connection and detail in the first like third and first half of that section until we get to Hades' perspective in 45. Like I feel like it was not necessarily rushed, but there were too many jumps where we were all confused. Like it's rare that we're all confused. One, maybe 2 of us can be confused, but like when we're all 3 confused, like I feel like that's a little
that's
odd.
saying something.
So that, and it made it hard for me to stay engaged, like, while I was reading that part of it. But I actually think while I loved 45, like, so much, and I do think, like, we really needed to really come back in that, but I think my favorite part of the section is the new interactions that she's having with the Titans, along with giving us more of Charon's kind of influence and knowing that he is actually playing some kind of role. It's very much in the background right now, but the fact that he has been so stoic that she never even thought he knew about her, even knowing about all these time jumps and whatnot. And she's like, no, there's no way. He definitely would have said something. And it's like, no, he knows more than anybody is aware of. Like, he was kind of my number one man in the first book for quite some time.
He's a
That's
solid
nice to
guy.
see.
Consistent.
Yeah. It's
Awesome.
gonna break my heart if he's somehow bad. I doubt it because they've been besties for like Hades' whole life, but I'm just saying.
So yeah.
Well, awesome. Join us next episode. We go into part 5 and we're going to work on trying to get more precise so that these don't keep getting longer, but get back to their
But we know
hour and
you
a
love
half
seeing
mark.
our faces and hearing our voices.
Yeah, just run us at 1.5 speed and it'll be like it was really the 1 hour.
No, yeah, definitely 1.5 speed. We can't help that. This is just such a good book. There's so much to talk about. But all right, we'll see you guys in the next
Love
one.
you, sisters.
Love you, sisters.
Love you guys.
Bye.